Welcome to Bodhi Unified Flow. Today, we're going to talk about a silent project killer. You know, it's one of those habits that feels productive on the surface, but underneath, it's just creating chaos and waste. It's called making do, and in this explainer, we're going to show you exactly how to spot it, and more importantly, how to stop it. So, have you ever been in this situation? You feel that pressure to look busy, right? To show some progress, to just get started on something. But what really happens when we jump the gun and start working before we're actually ready? Well, it turns out this impulse has a name, and believe me, it comes with a massive, massive hidden cost. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll define exactly what making do waste is. Then we'll break down the different types of missing pieces that usually trigger it, and I'll show you its staggering true cost. After that, we'll dig into why it happens in the first place. And by the time we're done, you'll have some really solid strategies to get rid of it for good. Okay, let's dive right in. To solve this problem, we first need to be able to see it and name it. So what exactly is making do waste, and why is it such a quiet, hidden drain on our projects? At its heart, it's really simple. It's the act of starting a task even when you know you're missing something absolutely essential. This isn't about being blocked by something out of your control. It's an active choice to just push ahead anyway. This whole concept was first properly identified in lean methodology by a researcher named Laurie Koskela. Now, this is a super important distinction. We're all familiar with waiting waste, right? That's when you're ready to go, but something stops the process. Making do is the complete opposite. The process isn't ready, but you start anyway. A great way to think of it is as negative waiting. You're actually starting too soon, not waiting too long. And this quote from Koskela really nails it. Instead of creating a buffer of materials or information to make sure work flows smoothly, making do does the exact opposite. It's usually driven by this desire to keep people busy or maybe to hide some schedule delays. But as you're about to see, it's a total false economy. It costs way more than it saves. Okay, so if making do is all about starting without the right inputs, what kind of stuff are we talking about here? What are these missing pieces? Let's break down the usual suspects. Honestly, it could be anything. Maybe the raw materials just haven't shown up yet. Or maybe you're a developer who starts coding before the final requirements are even signed off. It could be a missing safety permit on a job site, a critical tool that's broken, or the one person you need for an inspection isn't available. Heck, it could even be that a key decision for management is still up in the air. If any single piece of the puzzle is missing, starting the work is making do. And this brings us to the true cost. This is where we move from a fuzzy concept to the hard, quantifiable damage this waste causes. And let me tell you, the numbers from real-world studies are pretty shocking. Check this out. A field study on a big construction project found that over half, a staggering 57% of tasks were started anyway, even though they were missing things they needed. This isn't some rare event. For a lot of companies, this is just the normal way of working. And just look at what happened. A full 50%, half, of those tasks failed and had to be completely reworked later on. You are literally flipping a coin on whether the work will be successful. That means you could be doubling your labor costs and creating huge, unpredictable delays. But the damage doesn't just stop with rework. It kicks off this terrible domino effect through the whole system. You get more half-finished jobs clogging everything up, your delivery times get longer and totally unpredictable, and your overall productivity just tanks. And this is a big one. It absolutely destroys worker motivation and trust. I mean, nobody enjoys doing work when they know it's probably wrong and they'll just have to do it all over again. So that leads to the big question. If it's so obviously destructive, why on earth does this keep happening? Well, it's really important to understand that making do is rarely a bad choice by one person. It's usually a perfectly logical reaction to a broken system. The real causes are almost always systemic. There's this huge pressure to keep people and machines busy, even if it's on work that isn't really productive. You have push systems that just force work to the next step, ready or not. You've got communication breakdowns, so people don't even know what's missing. And often, you have top-down management that just ignores the feedback from the people on the front lines who know the work isn't ready. Okay, so we've defined the problem, we've seen just how much it costs, and we understand why it happens. Now for the good part. Let's talk about the solution. How do we build a system that prevents making do before it can even start? The entire solution rests on this foundational idea called the complete kit principle. It's a simple but incredibly powerful rule. A task should not even begin until every single input, every part, every piece of information, every approval is 100% available and has been verified. So how do you actually do this? Well, the most practical way is with a simple checklist gate. For any task, you start by defining everything it needs to be done right. Then, right before you begin, you go through that list and verify every single item. If everything's there, great, you proceed with confidence. But if even one thing is a no, you stop. You don't make do. You escalate the problem and get that missing piece sorted out. And you can make this approach even stronger by bringing in other classic lean tools. You can build these verification checklists right into your standard work procedures. You could use value stream mapping to get a bird's eye view of your whole process and see where your inputs are supposed to come from. You can even use something called poka-yoke or mistake proofing to design your system so it's physically impossible to start a task if a critical part is missing. All right, let's bring this all together. What are the most important things to take away from all this? The goal here is to shift our whole mindset from making do to making ready. So here's your summary. First, you have to learn to see it. It's starting work too early. It's that negative waiting. Second, you have to appreciate its true cost. It's not just rework, it's delays, lost productivity, and terrible morale. Third, find the root cause, which is usually found in the system, not the person. And finally, eliminate it by using the complete kit principle and simple checklists to guarantee that work is ready before it ever begins. And I'll leave you with a final thought to take back to your own team. Think about it. What is the most common incomplete kit in your line of work? Is it always missing information, waiting on a decision? And more importantly, what's the one simple item you could add to a pre-task checklist, maybe even tomorrow, that could stop it from happening again? For anyone who wants to dive deeper into the research, these are the key sources that we drew from for today's explainer. Thank you for joining us at Bodhi Unified Flow. We hope this helps you and your team move from making do to getting things done right the first time.